Good morning. I'm Mayor Buddy Dyer, and I'd like to welcome you to the October 7th, 2013 workshop of the Orlando City Council. And this promises to be a fun one with a good report. One of the pathways under our Pathways for Paramore initiative is children in education, and that kind of birthed the Paramore Kids Zone, which was modeled after the Harlem Children's Zone and has been highly successful, and I think modeled by other communities around the state of Florida. So I'm going to call on Lisa to introduce the workshop.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer, and thank you, Commissioners. This year marks the 7th anniversary of implementation of Paramore Kids Zone, and so this presentation is going to provide an overview of the types of investments that have been made in the Paramore community as it relates to children and education, and the results that those investments have had. So the first thing that I want to say, and you can see the room is full of all of the many partners that have been part of this amazing effort. This is really about uniting the collective work of all of those people in our community who really care about kids and having a common agenda for solving some of the complex problems that hold many kids back. So in the room today you have some of our funders, like Heart of Florida United Way, and many of the partner organizations that have received grants through the program. You can see their logos up here, and I'm going to talk more about them during the presentation. And just so that you know, as much as we give out grants to partner organizations, pretty much all of these partner organizations also leverage their own funds into the neighborhood from their own budgets and their own fundraising, all targeted towards investing in the well-being of children in Paramore. I'm going to ask everybody to just stand to be recognized. Please stand. Okay, you can be seated. Thank you very much. Okay, so as Mayor Dyer said, this model is a replication of Harlem Children's Zone, and so you understand the model if you aren't familiar with it. The model is considered to be place-based, which means that there is a defined geographic area in which it operates. In this case, it's in the Paramore Heritage Community. It is a cradle-to-career model. And so what we do is that we work with all children who reside in this targeted geographic neighborhood from cradle to college and career. So that's essentially from birth through age 21 and in some instances up to age 24, all of the children in the neighborhood. And it covers everything, key aspects of children's lives. So that ranges from educational performance of the kids, health and wellness, family economic security, really everything that has to do with child well-being. And the ultimate goal is to move the needle on indicators of child well-being in the neighborhood. So we want to see movement in academic performance of all children in Paramore combined, movement in juvenile arrest rates in Paramore, movement in child abuse and neglect rates, teen birth rates. In all of those indicators of child well-being, we expect that if we make these investments and connect to a critical mass of children in the neighborhood, that we will see improvement in all of those indicators in the neighborhood. So that is the model. Core strategies. First one is to invest in evidence-based programs for children in the neighborhood. And by evidence-based, what I just want to mention is that there's gobs of research out there on what is impactful for children, what works. People have heard about how important high-quality preschool education is. Lisa,
is gobs a technical term?
Yes, it is actually, Mayor Dyer, yes. Yeah. Would you like a definition? So, thank you for that.
There's gobs of information on.
Okay, so
we know that to you.
Kids who attend high-quality preschool education, you can see a difference in their high school graduation rates, their college going, their ability to be economically self-sustaining adults later on. We know mentoring has an important impact. We know engagement of children in out-of-school time programs is important. Tutoring makes a difference. We know what makes a difference for kids. So our focus is to invest in those kinds of things in the neighborhood. And then number 2 bullet point here is connect children to those programs. So, very often when you have these great programs wherever they're located, a lot of times the parents that are out there advocating for their kids find out about those programs and drive their kids into the neighborhood. So it's not necessarily, even if you have great programs, it's not necessarily the kids that need it most from the neighborhood who are using those programs. So we've been very intentional about doing grassroots outreach, door-to-door, connecting with families, branding the program in the neighborhood to make sure that kids from the neighborhood are enrolled in all of these programs and taking away barriers to their participation. And then lastly, using data to drive decisions and ensure accountability. And I'm going to talk a lot about that in this presentation. Okay, so I'm going to talk about data and evaluation. For all of the wonks out there, like Commissioner Stewart, I know, is a big data guy, so here we go. So first of all, we have been meticulously tracking data on many levels since the very beginning of this program. So the first thing that we do is we track participation of children in programs. And what this looks like is that all of the partners who are providing services to children in Paramore are actually documenting what services they're providing, who are the children that are receiving them, basic information on the children like their date of birth and their address, and then how often the children attended those programs, and they are sending all of that data to us on a monthly basis, and they've been doing it since the beginning. And all of that data goes into a centralized database that was developed by the Health Council of East Central Florida. So we have data on everything provided to kids, the frequency of that since the beginning. The second bullet, neighborhood level metrics. We also get data at the neighborhood level as a whole. I talked about the main goal of the program being to move the needle on indicators of child well-being. So we have been getting from Orange County Public Schools, for instance, data every year on FCAT performance of kids in the neighborhood. We've been getting from the Orlando Police Department data on juvenile arrests in the neighborhood. So we can track on an annual basis, and you're going to see some of that data later in this presentation, on how we're doing when it comes to moving the needle on child well-being. The third bullet is parents' perspective. We conducted a neighborhood survey in early 2007. We randomly selected 100 households in the neighborhood that were raising children, and we asked them a whole series of questions about their children. And then we did a resurvey of 100 randomly selected households in 2012. So we had 5 years between the two, and we asked them essentially the same questions, and we wanted to see, is there a difference in how parents answer the questions now? And you're going to see some of those results in this presentation. And then lastly, in the most recent couple of years, we've been much more focused on moving the needle on academic performance of children. So we've begun to drill down on specifics about the academic performance of individual children in the neighborhood, gathering the FCAT scores of individual kids, gathering the GPAs, how each kid is doing in school, so that the people who are working with kids in the neighborhood, they're using data on the kids' academic performance to inform the work that they're doing, so they can help target and tailor their interventions with the kids to what the kids really need. So we're beginning to track that on individual kids. And what you see is kind of a graphic of, you know, basically sheets and sheets of information on kids that we track. Okay. So this is the most recent calendar year that we have full data for, 2012. And what you see here is a general overview of the services provided through Paramore Kids Zone. If you look down below the chart, you see that the total number of youth served in calendar year 2012 was 1,558 kids. And if you look below that, you can see what that represents in terms of penetration of Paramore Kids Zone among youth in the neighborhood. According to the 2010 census, there were 1,351 children under the age of 18 in Paramore, and another 835 between 18 and 24. So you get a feel for how expansive PKZ has been in terms of connecting with kids who live in the neighborhood. The other things that I want to point out, first of all, when you look at the first line, after-school academic assistance, 600 kids. This represents all of the providers in the neighborhood that are providing after-school, summer, and academic assistance to kids. So it's data from the Callahan Center, the Jackson Center, New Image Youth Center, Page 15, the Boys and Girls Club down at the Jackson Center. All of these entities provide us that data, and that's where that 600 number comes from. You can see that the most heavily attended programs were after-school and academic assistance programs, as well as health and wellness programs. Health and wellness, by and large, the largest number of kids involved are kids on our sports teams. PKZ operates very, very robust athletic programs, and that's what a large piece of that. The other thing you see, 113 kids under youth employment, the last line there. In 2012, we employed 113 Paramore youth, and later in this presentation, you're going to hear from one of them. These kids were employed at multiple sites in the neighborhood. Some of them were employed at city recreation centers, others at Knapp Ford School, at New Image Youth Center, at Orlando Day Nursery. You can also see 166 youth participated in programs that helped them get into college or technical school, get their GED, complete their high school graduation requirements. One of our biggest partners in this arena is Simeon Resource and Development Center for Men. And this past year, we sent a record number of Paramore youth to college, 27 in all. And lastly, later in this presentation, I'm going to present information on juvenile arrests. And you're going to see that juvenile arrests have declined dramatically in Paramore. And we think one of the reasons why, you can see it in the data here, because we have a very large number of older youth who previously, and I think this was one of the findings of the Mayor's Paramore Task Force, that there were very few programs in the neighborhood for older youth. There were a lot of older youth who were just hanging around with not a lot to do. Some of them had already dropped out of school. They really had very limited options in terms of economically sustainable jobs. And so we've been very, very focused on that, engaging youth. And so we have tons of youth on sports teams and after-school programs, getting academic assistance to keep them in school, working in jobs. And then when you look down and see youth development teen programs, 424 youth. This is all kinds of things like UCF's Digital U program, Open Gym at the Downtown Recreation Center, Young Fathers of Central Florida's Gents to Gentlemen program, the Pathways in Law program that we operated in collaboration with judges from the 9th Judicial Circuit, just an ongoing series of programs for older youth to engage them in positive, adult-supervised youth development kinds of programs. Okay? So I'm going to move on. Now I'm going to talk about some specific investments along the cradle-to-career pipeline, starting from the birth to 5 population all the way through young adults. So first I'm going to talk about some examples of investments in young children. And we know, research shows, gobs of research show, that one of the most impactful things we can do to help children be successful in school is start them off very early, from the day they're born, in educationally enriched environments, both in their own homes and in high-quality preschool programs. So first, let's talk about preschool. One of the biggest limitations for families to be able to have their children in high-quality early learning settings is that they can't afford it. And there's a long waiting list in our community for a subsidy for child care. Matter of fact, there are 7,000 children on the waiting list in Orange County alone. Since the beginning, we've operated a child care subsidy fund just for Paramore. That not only means there's no waiting list in Paramore, but the rules are much more relaxed. So families in Paramore can qualify, whereas families in other communities would not be able to qualify. So, for instance, if you're a mom and you want to go back to school and you need to put your young children in child care, you would not qualify for a child care subsidy unless you live in Paramore, because our fund does allow you to qualify. That's just one example. This is some data that shows the impact of that. This is the pre- and post-survey you see in 2007 when we asked parents of young children if their children were in any kind of pre-K or child care setting. 35% said yes. That went up to 42% when we resurveyed parents in 2012. In addition, the chart on the right shows that the change in the number of children in Paramore receiving child care subsidies between 2005, before we started the fund, and 2013. That represents a 45% increase. Okay, I also talked about parents, that young children need to have enriched early learning environments in their own homes. So in 2010, We sent a team from the Early Learning Coalition of Orange County, UCF College of Education, and Knapp Ford Community School up to Harlem for a technical assistance visit with Harlem Children's Zone, which operates a nationally renowned baby college. The goal was to replicate the baby college in Paramore. And in 2011, headed up by the Early Learning Coalition of Orange County, the PKZ Baby Institute was launched in Paramore. It is a 9-week program. Parents come every Saturday for 9 weeks from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. It takes place at the Knapp Ford Community School, and the curriculum was developed by Dr. Judy Levin at UCF, and it includes everything from attachment to brain development to building your child's language skills, health and wellness, discipline, etc. 7 sessions have been completed since the program, 7 9-week sessions have been completed since the program was launched in 2011, and the 8th session just started this Saturday, and parents are also offered the opportunity to participate in alumni activities. The next chart shows you that since we launched, 112 parents have attended the parenting sessions, 80 have graduated, including 7 dads, and they represent 224 children under the age of 5 and an additional 76 school-age children. So that means it has reached 300 children in total who have participated in this in just 2 years. Okay, so we talked about young kids. Now we're going to talk about sort of the elementary school age. And we have many partners working with elementary school age kids, but I'm going to ask our own Rodney Williams, Division Manager for Recreation, to come up and talk about the changes at 2 of the sites, which are city sites, the Jackson Center and the Callahan Center. Rodney.
Thanks, Lisa. Mayor, Commissioners, as Lisa stated, we have gobs of programs coming out of Callahan and Jackson also. But I'm going to share a few of them with you today. Over 180 children that reside in the Paramore community are engaged in some form of educational and recreational program at the Jackson Neighborhood Center and Callahan Neighborhood Center. Both community centers partner with many organizations to facilitate these programs. Both Callahan and Jackson have partnered with the University of Central Florida over 13 years, providing reading comprehension to youth ages 5 to 14. UCF education majors trained in effective reading strategies bring those techniques to high-energy, highly motivated elementary school-age children to better their reading ability. In addition, both sites have partnered with Orange County Public Schools' Summer Reading Initiative program. This program seeks to engage youth in educational activities to minimize summer learning loss. As a result, both sites combined had over 16,000 minutes spent reading, over 2,000 books were read, and 5,000 books were opened by participants registered in the program. More importantly, we were privileged to expand the Orange County Public Schools summer reading program to some of our other community centers also, and a total of 11,357 books were opened, 5,306 books were read, and 43,115 minutes was spent reading by 800 participants. Both sites recently implemented, and you heard Lisa mention this program, Gents to Gentlemen. The program focuses on character development and etiquette for males ages 10 to 13. The program includes hands-on workshops that will teach them about manhood, rites of passage, self-esteem, healthy choices, etiquette, personal grooming, public speaking and social networking, and healthy living. Every summer, both sites, with support of Paramore Kids Zone, provides monetary assistance to children living in the zone to attend summer camp field trips. Now, before this, we had very minimal numbers that would attend our field trips. We only had 10. Now we've got 75 kids that are attending field trips because of this collaboration. Callahan also facilitates a Head Start program that has about 47 children registered. 41 of those children live in the Paramore community. They also provide piano lessons to 21 children through a partnership with the Steinway Society in Central Florida and the Paramore Kids Zone. As a special note, the Jackson Center saw a drop about 5 years ago in their enrollment and participation. They only had about 20 kids enrolled, and on average about 12 attending daily. But due to them starting to go out and transport these kids into the facility, our numbers have increased to 85 participants that are enrolled in that program on a daily basis. Jackson also partners with the Boys and Girls Club of Central Florida to provide programming to our teens in Paramore. They encourage teens to participate in age-appropriate activities led through peer role models who facilitate internal activities such as SWAT, Passport to Manhood, Smart Girls, Life Skills, and Digital U. And finally, in collaboration with Downtown Credos, a 501c3, we were able to improve the lives of young people by involving them in the world of philanthropy and engage them in community service projects within the Paramore community. And as a result, it expands their horizons beyond their neighborhoods and provides a community of like-minded, service-oriented kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Rodney.
Thanks, Rodney. Really appreciate that. Okay, so we talked about younger kids, we talked about elementary school, and now we're going to talk about older youth. And I don't want to talk about everything about them, but specifically focus on how we help older youth academically. And so for that, I'm going to introduce Ms. Latasha Greer-Adewale, and Latasha works for the City of Orlando on a part-time basis. She heads up our academic initiatives. Before moving to Orlando in 2010, Latasha worked at the Frederick Douglass Academy in Harlem, starting in 2001 as a social studies teacher and moving her way up until she became the school's principal, a position she held from 2005 until 2010. Latasha holds a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from Howard University and a Master of Education from Columbia University. Latasha is going to talk about how PKZ provides middle and high school students with wraparound academic supports to keep them on track towards high school graduation and post-secondary completion. Latasha.
Good morning, Mayor Dyer and honorable council members. I want you to think of an individual who could have benefited from a one-on-one relationship with a caring, professional advisor, mentor, advocate, who's not only tied to the community, but also integrated into that person's school culture. One that is ever present at each phase of the student's life. All of us have opportunities when we're thinking about what if that student was exposed to a STEM program in the middle school? What if that student knew of magnet programs that they could apply to and also had someone who could hold their hand through the process and support the family in the application process? What if that individual who was overaged and undercredited and transferred to an alternative school had someone who would go with them and those services would continue with them to that alternative school to make certain that they still graduated from high school? Paramore Kids Zone wants to reduce the what ifs and have more success stories through the Student Advocate Program. Incorporating the Student Advocate Program into the PKZ model increases the organization's capacity to support students' academic and personal development. This would bring us closer to our goal of leveling the playing field for all of our students. Again, my name is Latasha Greer, and my role is to help facilitate, support implementation, and expansion of the Student Advocate Program. This is a data-driven program that will provide the students with an additional resource. That advocate tracks the students' progress from middle to high school graduation, and on to post-secondary options and sustainable employment. The program's success depends on three critical factors: the relationship between the student participant and advocate, effective monitoring, and strategic advocacy. I'll explore each briefly. Relationship building. Each of our student advocates will meet with their student weekly and provide tutoring and advising sessions, and also meet with them once a month for small group sessions as well. In my 6 years as a principal, I didn't come across many organizations that had the bandwidth to truly monitor the students' academic progress and also include them in that process. Many organizations are collecting data for the purpose of collecting data and not for the purpose of goal setting and action planning. Our student advocates help our students set academic goals and work with them to develop an academic improvement plan. We have one for the middle school, for the high school, and for the college level that we've developed. The goals are not general, they're specific, they're smart, they're measurable, they're attainable, they're realistic, they're time-bound, and they're also tied to strategic actions. We want the students not only to think of goals, but what are the actions that correspond with those goals? What are the resources that they need? And most importantly for our students is how do we help them identify the roadblocks ahead of time and plan for those roadblocks? Advocacy. Most importantly, the student advocate will help advocate the student's best interests to a wide range of constituents, the school administrators, teachers, counselors, and outside agencies where necessary. So where are we now? We're expanding. Prior to the 2013 pilot, there was one academic coordinator with a caseload of 50-plus students spanning across middle school, high school, and into college. We now have 4 part-time credentialed teachers hired for Howard Middle School and Jones High School, whose workload ranges from 20 students to 26 students, and these are part-time employees. Our goal is to expand further and to have a student advocate for each grade that will continue to monitor the students as they progress through high school, into college, and on to post-secondary options. Although we're still continuing to build our infrastructure for the program, thanks to the student advocates, we've deepened our relationships at Howard Middle School and at Jones High School and increased the interest in serving more students, both from the school staff and from the students themselves. We know that the student advocate program, this component of the Paramore model, contributes greatly to the organization and to the students served. And I'd like for the 3 student advocates that are here to please stand. Quickly. Thank you.
You know, and I was thinking as Latasha was talking about all the people in the audience today who have been working with kids just in Paramore to help keep them on track in school. So I'm going to ask everybody here who has been working with 1 or more kids in Paramore to help keep them on track in school to please stand. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to show you some data. This is just a snapshot of data. This shows trends in FCAT scores in Paramore since 2007 at the high school level. The red line shows the trend in FCAT math. The blue line shows the trend in FCAT reading. There's still a way to go, but we're moving in the right direction. This is results of the survey, the 2 neighborhood surveys, when we asked parents, is your child getting into trouble at school? In 2007, 33% of parents said yes. In 2012, that had declined to 26%. Again, we still have a way to go, but we're moving in the right direction. This, I know many of you have heard about the drop in juvenile arrests in Paramore. This is these are the numbers. The red bars are the city of Orlando, and you can see a big drop in the city of Orlando in terms of juvenile arrests, which is an amazing thing. That represents a 71.3% decline. The blue bars represent Paramore. That has also declined. That represents an 87.5% decline. Also, if you compare 2006 to 2012, in 2006, juvenile arrests in Paramore represented 22.8% of all juvenile arrests citywide. By 2012, only 9.9% of all juvenile arrests citywide were taking place in Paramore. Okay. This, to me, is the most telling of all of the slides. When we asked parents in 2007 if the neighborhood was a safe place for children, 44% said yes. When we asked them that question again in 2012, that number shot up to 63%. And I just want to thank this city commission. I want to thank Commissioner Lynham, the mayor, all of the commissioners who have put so much tireless work into helping to revitalize the Paramore community. I want to thank the police chief and all of the members of the Mayor's Paramore Task Force, Walter, everybody who worked so hard on this, because this to me is just phenomenal. Okay, and with that, I am going to invite a young gentleman by the name of Johnny Germain, who has been a participant in Paramore Kids Zone for several years now, to say just a few words about how this has made a difference in his life. Johnny.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, everyone. My name is Johnny Germain, and I'm 22 years old. When I think about PKZ, I think of family, and it has made a great impact on my life and on my family's life. And I'm most grateful and thankful for everything they've done for me, from the age of 14 to now the age of 22. They have done a lot for me. I wasn't always on the right track, and when I came across and met PKZ, it's like a whole 360 of my life. Everything changed, from school, from hanging out, from doing bad little things. It has changed for me. I'm a sport. I love sports. I love basketball, and the way I was introduced to PKZ was through a basketball program they had, and I got real into it, and they exposed me to a lot of things, not just sports. I hated academics. I hated going to school. I didn't like going to school. I didn't always have the right materials to go to school, the right things. My mom, she's a single parent, and she could only do so much because it's four of us, my little sisters, so it was hard on her. So I didn't never try to ask her for anything. But PKZ came, they did everything for me. They got me back in school. My freshman year in high school, I went down the drain. I didn't want to go. My GPA was a .0 something. It was real low. And PKZ got me on the right track. They got me to do this tutoring program. I did it, and I ended up finding the interest in going back to school. And really, I wanted to go to school because of basketball. And I figured, okay, if I get my academics right first, I get to play basketball. So, but part of that too, I was playing for PKZ, and like I said, they exposed me to a lot of things in life. They taught me how to be more social. I was very antisocial. I didn't like speaking to anyone. They taught me the value of life, of being happy, of being able to help others, and being part of them has really showed me what it really means to help other people. Because here I am now, I'm sort of okay, but it's other people that doesn't have it. It's kids that's struggling with their parents, and it's hard. But I believe if they get introduced to PKZ and if the program expand, I believe everyone will be happy, But a little bit more about me. I'm a current employee. I'm currently employed for PKZ. They have given me a job and showed me how to work. They've also gotten me into college. Now, I left that part out. They got me to graduate high school. I never thought that I was going to get a chance to graduate because of the route that I was taking before I was introduced to PKZ. But I made it. I ended up graduating with a 3.5, and I know. To me, that was unbelievable. I really didn't believe that I can achieve so much. They saw a lot of potential in me, and that I didn't even see in myself. And till this day, I'm still left with my mouth open, how did I get here? How is this possible? But I really have them to thank for all of that. They got me into Tallahassee Community College. I went there things got a little rough where, I couldn't afford to pay for my housing and food, so I had to come back, and plus, like, I was really stressed on how to pay for school, how to survive, basically, because I was out there by myself. But I knew back at home I had support, and they were behind me 100%. And I kept thinking to myself, they've gotten me this far, so I couldn't give up. But also, they got me back down here, and I'm currently employed for them. And right now, they're working with me on my next step, my next goal, which is to continue my education, graduate college, hopefully play professional ball if the Lord blesses me with that. But overall, I'm very grateful. I'm very, very grateful, and I promise I'll never forget the experience that I've been through and the experience that PKC has helped me with. And I really, I just hope that this program lives on to the younger kids, younger than me, that's growing up, because I honestly know how it feels to come, from the bottom, like when you don't have nothing at all. And for you to have guidance and someone giving you help, showing you the way of life, what it means, and how to become a better person, how to give back, and it really means a lot, and I'm really, really, really grateful for everything, the city, the program, and everything that everyone has done for me. And thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to just briefly talk about next steps. The Families, Parks, and Recreation Department, we are not only concerned about children living in Paramore, we're concerned about children citywide. And between the Paramore Kids Zone, the Recreation Division, and After School All-Stars, we serve about 10,000 children, almost all of them every single day, all year round. And about 85% of those kids are low income. So I'm going to ask my colleagues, Brenda March, Rodney Williams, and Ray Crump, who's representing After School All-Stars, to come up and stand with me here. We've talked about how we can take our work to the next level to benefit Orlando's children citywide, or at least the children that we work with, those 10,000 kids that Families, Parks, and Recreation Department works with. What you see here are the things that we think are going to be critical that we're going to be focusing on over the coming years. First of all, we know that at recreation centers across the city very often we have older youth who hang around outside, and we don't have a lot of robust programming for those older youth. When they're outside, they have no one to help them with school. They have no supervision. That's what leads into trouble and problems, and really, ends up sometimes for those kids being the end of the line for them. So we are very committed to enhancing our work with older youth, particularly in targeted neighborhoods where we know we have older youth that don't have programs. Second, we're very, very committed to enhancing our academic support capabilities because we want to help kids be successful in school. Third, we want Families, Parks, and Recreation Department to be a springboard for healthy living. We do some amazing things when it comes to health and nutrition and health and wellness, and we want to build on that. And lastly, because we have so many children who really are struggling economically, we want to be able to provide wraparound economic supports to kids to help them meet their basic needs. So on that note, and this is the last slide, Rodney did speak about the work that he has been doing and his team through the Summer Learning Loss Prevention Program in collaboration with Orange County Public Schools. So that's an example of how we have now taken some of this work and begun to replicate it throughout the city at sites throughout the city. But today on council agenda, you're going to be asked to vote on the city's first after-school feeding program. And so I'm going to ask Rodney to speak very, very briefly about that.
Okay, just a quick background on the after-school nutrition program. The federal government enacted the first legislation to provide meals to children in 1994. The Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act of 2010 made meal reimbursement available to all states. Many low-income families find it necessary to cut the size of their children's meals or skip meals because they cannot afford enough nutritious food. In July 2012, Orlando was one of 11 cities in the nation to receive grant funding from the National League of Cities to promote and implement the after-school nutrition program in Central Florida. City Council proclaimed December 14th, 2012 as After-School Awareness Day in the city of Orlando. The city has been approved to serve meals and snacks at 11 locations within the city limits, 9 city recreation centers and 2 PKZ sites, 5 days a week when school is in session, to approximately 700 children. Phase 1 will consist of Downtown Rec, Callahan, Jackson, Northwest, Rosemont, Inglewood, Reeves, Terrace, Citrus Square, Hankins Park, New Image, and Harvest Baptist. FPR chose one center for each district and added the PKZ program sites. The sites were broken up into 2 phases to streamline the application process and meet the necessary deadlines for approval. FPR will be looking to expand the program to another 7 recreation centers in January 2014, serving approximately 500 additional children daily. Phase 2 would consist of Dover Shores, College Park, Wadeview, Colonial Town, Rock Lake, Ivy Lane, and Smith. Once both phases have launched, the Recreation Division will be serving nutritious meals and snacks to approximately 1,200 children daily, prepared and delivered by Orange County Public Schools Food and Nutrition Services.
Thank you. So we're really excited about that, and I also want to add that the program is going to operate at all Title I middle schools through After School All-Stars program as well. A couple of weeks ago, y'all approved a grant agreement with the Volunteer Florida Corporation for National and Community Service. We are in the midst of hiring 20 AmeriCorps workers to do exactly the type of work that Latasha talked about, to serve as student advocates. They will be deployed to 6 communities around the city where we have large numbers of children who are struggling at school. They're going to be working in the schools and at the recreation centers and after-school all-star sites to provide student advocate wraparound services to kids who are struggling in school. And then last but not least, we recently received approval to participate in the National League of Cities Black Male Achievement Technical Assistance Project, and I'm going to ask Brenda March to speak to that.
Hi, Mayor and Commissioners. The City of Orlando is one of 11 cities selected by the National League of Cities to receive technical assistance in this national movement to help black males achieve. The initiative is called NLC's Cities for Black Males Achievement Technical Assistance Initiative. Supported by the Open Society Foundation's Campaign for Black Male Achievement, the National League of Cities Institute for Youth, Education, and Families, they have joined the Policy Link to support this initiative. Policy Link is a national research and action institute advancing social and economic equity. We are excited to join this movement to help our young boys and men reach their full potential by engaging them in various programs, projects, and activities. That being said, I leave you with a quote from Mayor Dyer when the question was posed by NLC. Why is it the time to focus locally and nationally on black male achievement? The real question should be why not focus on black male achievement? Unfortunately, today's young black men are struggling to find a secure, stable, and prosperous place in society. We are committed to ensuring opportunities for our residents, and programs like this will only further support those efforts. When our black men achieve, we all achieve. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Commissioners. We're done.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, whole team. I want to just say thank you to every single person that's involved in PKZ and the impact that it's had on our community. We deeply appreciate all the efforts and the passion for the jobs that you do, and I bet you everybody that goes to work every day gets up excited about going to work, and that's a good thing. And I see all those smiles on everybody's faces out there. Commissioner Lineham.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, guys. For about 3 or 4 years, I have been very, very hard on PKZ because we started off really having a hard time. You didn't hire professionals. You just didn't know what they were doing. There was no accountability. And it is quite refreshing to see the face of our employers change. Because when you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to do anything. I mean, it's good to babysit and keep people out of trouble for a little while. But I do have to applaud the success because the people like Latasha make a difference. And, of course, Johnny, a great difference. But I think you should have stayed at Valencia. You had no business going to Tallahassee anyway. Simple as that. I mean, plus it's cold up there. It's 4 hours to drive there. You don't have a car. It just made no sense. So somebody needs to call Sandy and get your butt in that school. So enough of that. But I really have to say, when you change your trajectory for success by hiring professionals and at least put them over people who are less capable, you can train people to do what they have to do. I have trained social workers for many, many, many years. I am an MSW social worker, and we understand social services and projects and programs. And for the first time, to have real numbers is phenomenal to look at accountability benchmarks. So especially with the amount of money we're raising, it makes no sense not to have a structured program. So that has always been my concern. It will always be my concern. But I never see the naysayers. You know, the people come in here, bitch, moan, and groan. They don't ever come and help do anything in the community for years and years and years. So it's great to see now that we have men like Dr. Dorsey and his program that I adore. I spent the whole summer there with my grandkids. I work for Dr. Dorsey 3 days a week, bringing my little grandkids to learn to play golf. So I want to say real special things. The New Image young lady has had a hard time, but she's trying. We need to find that girl somewhere to house her program. And the Bridge to Independence has since left Paramore, but they're out on Mercy, and will do well. But I've had one of the greatest partners was Rodney, and to see Russell the Russell people provide all those uniforms. I think to be successful, Mayor, most of the commissioners here, the one thing we love are our community centers. I never seen any of these crazy people come in here, go to a community center, and offer services and volunteer to help our kids, to help clean up the community. So just the work we do with broadband technology, with our labs that the Magic has helped and that your budgets have helped make this successful for not just PKZ. And one of the reasons the numbers went down in Paramore, a lot of families moved, but also the success of the program speaks for itself. But I do want to congratulate you and say that my concern for children is citywide, it's for the region. If Paramore succeeds, I lived in Paramore, even as a child. So, I mean, I didn't see that being a big hurdle. But at our economy and for young parents having so few services, this is the right thing to do. But it's the right thing to do with the right kind of staff and the right kind of focus, the right kind of tools. To give you a job to do and you don't have the tools, it just makes no sense. And I think Mr. Germain ought to be out on the streets talking to those little boys and passing out belts. Coming in this morning, so a little boy could barely walk. His pants were around his knees, and he was walking with his mother. If that had been my son, I'd have been whipping his butt all the way to where we were going. I know there's great humor here, but we have a great opportunity for our community. I work relentlessly in doing the things most people don't see us do. They just see us show up somewhere and think that's the job. Then they want your job when they've never come to council in 15 years, 20 years, never show up to do anything, don't volunteer for anything, won't read the agenda, won't do anything to let us help them. So I see this group of our kids as the future leaders who have come up through some difficult times, that we're moving toward their own perfection, their own great sustainable success. And I think, Mayor, this is a great thing to do for our community. This morning on the news, they said mayors and councils should be responsible for education. I thought I'd let that run to your head. Because we do not play partisan politics. We believe in the success of our children and our communities, and we never allow politics to get in the way of moving forward on partisan stuff. So congratulations. Thank you, Mayor Dahlia.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Ings.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to say thank you guys so much for your presentation today. And obviously for those that are supporting PKZ, thank you too for your commitment and your loyalty and your love for community, because it does make a difference, and obviously it has shown over these statistics that have been presented here today. And thank you also for expanding PKZ to touch other areas too within other districts. And that's a great thing too, because you kind of help us out as well. And it is all about the children and our community. So again, thank you very much. And Ray Crump didn't speak. You know, you brought everybody else up and let them speak. But
That's we've known Ray for 100 years.
and then the last thing I want to say is, are you going to have a big 7th anniversary party out in Paramore, reference your PKZ anniversary?
Well, we hadn't planned one, but we do a lot of parties. We did the City Kids event, and there's a lot going on in the neighborhood,
That was good.
lots of activities. For instance, you have a Halloween coming up. I mean, it's just an ongoing series of activities, but that's a good idea. We'll take that back. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wait, Mayor, excuse me, one more thing I meant to tell you. Our neighborhood matching grants also help with the advocacy in Paramore. Raising the Bar over at Shallow, all 35 kids passed FCAT because of the great job they're doing. I meant to tell last
Nice.
council meeting that was happening, and of course, our Dr. Brown and Paul Griffin over at Mercy, the things they do. Just let you know, there are layers and layers and layers. It's not one trajectory, just layers and layers of things that happen. But Raising the Bar, I just thought we should applaud, because all of the kids they work with Ethel Ross and what's her name, Brenda, and all of those guys over there did a great job. This time we got to fund them fully.
And Commissioner, I want to thank you for all of your amazing work and advocacy for this community for so many years.
Thank you.
You're probably one of the most generous people, most committed to this community. You've made so many investments yourself here, whether it was broadband, the work you're doing now at Jones High School with the medical program, Blueprint, I mean, just all of these things. And it's just an amazing thing, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you all again. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
So that concludes our workshop for today.
Sometimes get that in.